There is a piece of footage that investigators have watched hundreds of times. It's 43 seconds long. It shows a figure, medium height, shorts, moving at a calm and unhurried pace, walking through the parking lot of a townhome complex in Orlando, Florida, at approximately 8 o'clock in the morning. And that's it. That's the whole clip. Except, that figure, investigators believe, had just driven a missing woman's car to that parking lot. And that missing woman has never been found. And that figure, despite being broadcast on national television, despite being watched by millions of people across the internet, despite 2 decades of tips and analysis and enhanced imaging, has never been identified. Not once. The footage is from January 24, 2006. The woman's name is Jennifer Kesse. She was 24 years old. And at the center of everything, every theory, every lead, every unanswered question in one of Florida's most haunting unsolved disappearances, is a figure walking past a fence. A figure who has a name. A figure who, in all likelihood, is alive right now. Stay with us. Jennifer Kesse grew up in Bradenton, Florida. She was sharp, driven, the kind of person who didn't wait for things to happen. By 24, she had a finance degree from the University of Central Florida, a vice president level role at Unsolved Bank, and something she was genuinely proud of, her own condo. Brand new development. South Orlando. She'd bought it herself. She had a boyfriend named Rob Allen, Fort Lauderdale, 3 hours south. They talked every single day. Sometimes twice. The kind of relationship that runs on consistent contact. The weekend before she disappeared, they'd gone to St. Croix together. A few days away. She flew back to Orlando on Sunday, January 22nd. Monday she went back to work. Monday night she called Rob. She was tired. Long first day back. She was going to sleep. At approximately 6 o'clock on Tuesday morning, January 24th, she called him again. That was the last time anyone who loved Jennifer Kesse heard her voice. By 9 that morning, she hadn't shown up to work. Her colleagues waited. Then they called. Her phone rang and rang. No answer. But before we get to what happened that Tuesday, we need to stop. Because Jennifer had been trying to tell people something for weeks before she disappeared. Not once. More than once. Enough times that when she vanished, the people she'd told remembered those conversations immediately. The mosaic at Millennia was a new development. Active construction. Rotating crews, contractors, subcontractors, de laboris cycling through a project that sized the way they always do. Men on the property every day, working on units, on common areas, on the grounds. Jennifer noticed specific workers. Not in a vague, passing way. Not, I feel a little weird, said once and forgotten. In a specific enough way that she brought it up. With her family. With Rob. More than once. Documented conversations that emerged during the investigation and that her family has spoken about publicly in the years since. She told them something felt wrong. She told them more than once. And the people who loved her listened, the way you listen to someone you trust when they say something that sounds serious but doesn't yet feel like an emergency. They heard her. They just didn't know yet what she was describing. Then she disappeared. And in the hours after, when her family was at her condo, looking at the slept-in bed and the half-finished morning routine and the empty parking space, those conversations came back. Every single one of them. Jennifer had been telling them something was building. For weeks. And now she was gone. Looking back, every person she had told those things to believed she had been right. When Jennifer didn't show up to work on the morning of January 24th, her colleagues did what you do when a reliable person suddenly isn't. They waited a little, then they got worried. By mid-morning, they were calling her cell directly. Nothing. Her family filed a missing persons report with the Orlando Police Department that evening. When they went to her condo, this is what they found. Her bed had been slept in. Her personal items were there, undisturbed, present, exactly where they would be on any normal morning. The condo looked like someone had gotten ready for work and left. But Jennifer's black Chevrolet Malibu, the car she drove to work every single day, was not in her parking space. Gone. Her phone was silent. Her work badge wasn't at her office. Her purse wasn't on her shoulder. She had made no calls after 6 a.m., sent no texts, contacted no one. Jennifer Kesse was a person who called her boyfriend before sunrise. And now she had been completely, totally silent for an entire day. Investigators worked through the evening. The family searched. No one slept. And then, the next morning, Wednesday, January 25th, someone spotted a black Chevy Malibu parked at the Huntington on the Green Townhome complex, roughly 1 mile from Jennifer's condo. 1 mile. Not on her route to work. Not near anyone she knew. In a residential parking lot where it had no business being. Her car. The car was locked. Windows intact. No damage. No broken glass. No sign of struggle, inside or outside the vehicle. From a distance, it looked like it belonged there. Investigators processed the vehicle. And here is what they found. Jennifer's purse. Inside the car. Her work badge. The one she needed to get through the secure doors of her office. Inside the car. She had no way to access her building even if she'd somehow arrived. And on the passenger seat. A breakfast bar. Partially unwrapped. She had packed food for the drive. She was eating on her way to work, the same routine, the same Tuesday morning commute she'd done dozens of times before, right up until the moment the morning stopped. The car had not been crashed. Had not been abandoned in a panic. Had not been left running on the side of a road. It had been driven, deliberately, to a specific location, 1 mile from Jennifer's home, and parked. Locked. Neat. Someone had been careful about this. Composed. And here's what that tells you. This was not chaos. Whoever moved that car had enough presence of mind, after whatever had just happened, to drive it to a different location, park it correctly, lock it, and walk away. Walk away. And that walk, that specific walk, was caught on camera. Investigators canvassing the area around Huntington on the Green did what they always do, they looked for cameras. There was one. Mounted at the property entrance. A standard residential security system, the kind of camera that records everything and usually captures nothing useful. On January 24, 2006, at approximately 8 o'clock in the morning, it captured something. A figure. Walking through the parking lot. Moving calmly away from the area where Jennifer's car was parked. Unhurried. Not looking around. Not rushing. Just walking, the way you walk when you've done what you came to do. Investigators examined the footage. They analyzed the timeline. They cross-referenced it with when Jennifer was last known to be home, when her car was last seen at the Mosaic, when it turned up at Huntington on the Green. Their conclusion: the person in that footage drove Jennifer Kesse's car to that location. This was a major development. This was, potentially, the break. For the first time, there was a documented image of someone directly connected to Jennifer's disappearance. A real person. A face. A body. Someone who could be identified. Except there was a problem. The fence. Between the camera and the walking figure ran a series of fence posts or slats along the property edge. Standard residential fencing. Completely unremarkable under any other circumstances. But the camera angle, the distance, the specific geometry of where the figure walked in relation to where those fence posts stood. The face is never visible. Not in a single frame. The figure walks through a gap in the fence posts, into obstruction, through another gap, into obstruction again. Frame after frame, every moment when a clear shot of the face might emerge, the fence is there. It looks, watching it, almost deliberate. Like something from a horror film. Like the fence knows. It is not deliberate. It is not a trick. It is just the way the fence was built and the way the figure walked and the way the camera was mounted, a completely random alignment of ordinary things that added up to one of the most maddening pieces of evidence in American true crime history. Investigators ran the footage through enhancement. Early analysis. Best tools available in 2006. What they could determine: medium build. Roughly 5'3" to 5'9", with the caveats that always come with estimating from this quality footage. Wearing shorts. Some investigators noted the figure may have a darker skin tone, though they were careful to flag the limits of that conclusion at this resolution. The footage was sent to the FBI. More analysis. Still no identification. Then it aired on America's Most Wanted. National audience. Millions of people watching. The explicit plea: "Do you recognize this person?" Tips came in. Investigators followed up on them. None led to a confirmed identification. It aired again. Dateline NBC. More coverage. More tips. More analysis. The figure remained unknown. Technology improved. Image enhancement tools in the 2010s could do things that weren't possible in 2006. The footage was revisited, reanalyzed, studied again with fresh eyes and better software. Still nothing. As of today, 19 years after that Tuesday morning, the figure in the footage has never been publicly identified. Let's stay with that for a moment, because it deserves to be said plainly. This is not a case without evidence. There is evidence. It is right there. A real human being, in a parking lot, on camera, on a specific morning, connected by investigators to the disappearance of a specific woman. That person exists. They walked away from that lot and continued their life. They may have watched this case on television. They may have seen their own image broadcast nationally. They may have read the stories, seen the headlines, watched the appeals. And they have said nothing. But here's what keeps investigators, and everyone who has studied this case, awake. That person didn't disappear into thin air either. They walked out of frame. They went somewhere. Got into a car, caught a bus, got picked up by someone. They returned to a life. Which almost certainly means someone else has looked at that footage. Someone who recognized something, a walk, a build, a piece of clothing, a shape that triggered a memory, and said nothing. For 19 years. Here's what the Kesse family wanted to know. In the first hours after Jennifer was reported missing, before the car was found, before the footage was examined, before any of it, what was happening? Because Jennifer was reported missing on the evening of January 24th. Her car wasn't found until the 25th. The footage wasn't examined until after that. And every experienced investigator in missing persons will tell you the same thing: the first hours are the ones you cannot recover. The family raised specific documented questions. Not general frustration, specific questions about specific decisions. Whether every person with access to the mosaic at Millennia construction site had been fully identified and interviewed. Whether all records that could establish who was on the property in January 2006 had been obtained. Whether every enhancement available for the CCTV footage at various points in time had been applied. The Orlando Police Department has consistently maintained the case is active. They have never closed it. Tips are still being processed. But here is the gap the family has lived in for 19 years. Active is not answered. And the construction workers Jennifer had been concerned about, the specific, documented concern she had raised with her family and with Rob in the weeks before she disappeared, that thread has never been publicly resolved. She named a source of her fear. She named it, specifically, to the people she trusted. And she was gone within weeks. No one has been charged. No one has been formally named as a suspect by law enforcement in any public statement. What follows is documented. The construction workforce at the mosaic at Millennia was large, rotating, and partially informal, subcontractors, day laborious, crews cycling between sites. Fully accounting for everyone who had access to that property in early January 2006 was not simple. Some workers may have moved between cities, between states, between countries. The CCTV figure was described in early investigative communications as potentially presenting characteristics consistent with a person of Latin American descent, a description investigators themselves qualified given the resolution of the footage. Much of Orlando's construction labor workforce in 2006 included workers of Latin American origin. These two facts exist. They are documented. They are not a conclusion. What investigators believe is this: the figure in the footage was connected to what happened to Jennifer. The car did not drive itself. The parking was deliberate. The walk was calm. Whatever happened had enough logic to it, enough forward planning, or at minimum enough composed reaction, that someone managed to drive the car a mile away and walk out of frame without running, without panicking, without drawing immediate attention. That person knew something about the area. Or knew someone who did. The timeline is tight. Jennifer's last call was at 6 a.m. The CCTV footage was recorded at approximately 8 a.m. 2 hours. Whatever happened to Jennifer Kesse happened fast, close to home, early in the morning. Her route to work did not pass through the Huntington on the Green complex. The car was taken there. She was not. Where she went, what happened to her in those 2 hours, is unknown. Drew Kesse is not the kind of grieving parent who became a story. He became an investigator. In the years after Jennifer disappeared, Drew and Joyce Kesse built something that has outlasted the media cycles, the anniversary coverage, the surges of public interest that come and go. They created a foundation. They fought, through legal channels, sustained over years, to obtain investigative records. They hired private investigators. They pushed for enhanced imaging of the CCTV footage as technology evolved. They appeared on every national platform available, not to cry for cameras, but to ask the specific question that has never been answered. Who is the person in that footage? They used America's Most Wanted. They used Dateline. They used every interview, every anniversary, every news cycle. Each time the footage aired, it reached a new audience. Each time, there was a chance. That chance hasn't come. Logan Kesse, Jennifer's brother, has been there through all of it. The family that Jennifer grew up in has stayed together under a weight that would break most families apart. 19 years of not knowing. 19 years of a daughter's room, a missing persons listing, a foundation named after someone who never got to see what she would have become. 19 years of a breakfast bar on a passenger seat, frozen in time. The Jennifer Kesse case is open. The Orlando Police Department has never closed it. No arrest. No charge. No recovery. The CCTV footage still exists. It has been analyzed more times than anyone has publicly counted. As image enhancement technology has advanced, and it has advanced enormously in the 19 years since that footage was recorded, investigators and outside analysts have returned to it. Whether those efforts have produced anything not yet disclosed is unknown. That is how active investigations work. What is known is this: a real person was recorded on that camera. That person has not come forward. And Jennifer Kesse's family is still waiting. 19 years. Jennifer Kesse is still missing. Her family is still asking the same question they asked in January 2006. The footage still exists. The figure in it still has a name. Here is the image this case leaves behind. A man, or a woman, walking past a fence at 8 in the morning. Calm. Unhurried. Moving through a parking lot in the Florida sun like nothing has happened. Past a fence that, by pure geometric accident, hides their face from a camera that had no business catching them at all. They walk out of frame. And 19 years pass. Jennifer packed a breakfast bar for her commute. She called the person she loved before sunrise. She walked out of her door expecting an ordinary Tuesday. Somewhere between that door and that parking lot, her life was taken. We have footage of the person who was there. We have never learned their name. That is not an ending. It is an ongoing fact, a question that hasn't been answered, in a case that hasn't been closed, in a family that hasn't stopped looking. The figure walked past a fence 19 years ago. And somewhere right now, someone knows exactly who that was.
Just emotionally and mentally exhausting to have our daughter, our family of 4, be a family of 3 without a resolution.
Well, first, it would have to be finding Jennifer's car. 2 hairs that never hit any data bank, but they did find 2 pieces of evidence that were never tested. I believe it was 2 pieces. Basically, AI, we're truly hoping that AI does something with the picture of the person who parks Jennifer's car. Between DNA and AI, there's incredible hope right now to just crack the case.
To be around investigators who are extremely intimate with every nuance of the case, for them to be a little bit upbeat, and that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Lewis Bolden, News 6.
At the Orlando Police Department, we never stop searching for missing persons.
On the morning of January 24th, 2006, Jennifer would have gotten up and left for work just before 8 o'clock in the morning. We know she would have normally driven to Ocoee and went to work, but she never made it. So that morning is where our focus is. We know for sure that her car was parked a few hours later, about a mile from her condo at Huntington on the Green. We know for sure someone parked that vehicle, got out, and is on camera walking away from that car. We don't know who that person is. So that's what we need to find out. We need to find out who is this person that parked Jennifer's car just a few hours after she would have left for work. I cannot explain how excited I am to start this process from the beginning. To fully re-examine her case as a detective, I've been in homicide now for 7 years, and to fully re-examine this from the beginning based on all the experience I have from other cases has led me to this point. So what can we find out from the very beginning, to look over all of these files, to look over all of the tips? Is there something in these files that we missed? Is there something in the tips that if we examined them from the beginning through today, over the last 12 years, is there a pattern that will develop that will lead us to either her whereabouts or the people responsible for her disappearance? Jennifer's family has not seen her or spoken to her in 12 years. They deserve answers. There would be nothing more satisfying in my career as a detective than to bring them those answers. If you guys know anything, if anyone knows anything, come talk to me. Let's just bring Jennifer home.